Within SAP, we're going to create a class and a table. Within our class, we'll add the interface, Neptune if NAD server. We'll also create three attributes. MS contact will be our work area or a variable based on our table. MT contacts will be a type table of, and this is an internal table. And then our final attribute, MS result, will have the type of Pt.2. Within the methods of our class, within the handle on Ajax method, we'll create two strings. The first will be get contacts, and this will select all from our table and return all the data in our MT contacts attribute. Our second string will be save contact. This will take the data from MS contact coming in from our application. It will then modify the table with that data and return the result within the MS result attribute. Now here within the SAP GUI we can set up the table and the class. So to begin we'll open SE11 and we'll create a database table called eLearn contacts. Once created, we can give a short description to this table along with giving it its delivery class. In this case we'll just select A, and then here we'll describe it as the table for holding the eLearning contact data. Now we can add all the fields. Let's add email and set it as the key, and then we'll select the data element for the email. And to do this we'll just search with the wildcards on either side of the email term, and you can select any of the data elements that are appropriate for you and available within your system. In my system here, I'm just going to select this Neptune OS email. We can repeat this process now for the rest of the fields that we'll need. So first name, last name, age, job, and comments. And then repeat the process for finding an appropriate data element for each of these fields. Once you've selected data elements for every field, you can save the table, select local object, and then you can activate. Provide a data class and size category for the table. In this case, we're just going to use user, and we'll set the size category as 2. Now we can save that, and we can go back as our table is complete. We'll just activate it, and we should be good to go. Now if we go back, we can open the table in display mode, and we can see all of our data is there. Now let's go back again to the home screen, and we'll open the transaction SE24 to create a class. We'll call this class ZCL eLearn contacts app, and then we'll hit create. We'll leave all of this as default, but we'll just add a description saying that this is the class for the eLearning contacts application. We'll save that, select local object, and that will create our class. Now, the first thing we'll do is head over to the Interfaces tab, and we'll add the /Neptune/if_NAD_server interface. As soon as you add this, it will generate all of these methods automatically. Let's save. And then let's have a look at one method in particular, which is the handle on Ajax method. This is where all data is transmitted through between the application and the back-end SAP tables. So here we can define some cases and some strings which will define the Ajax IDs that we'll use within our application later. So we'll look at the Ajax ID in our case, and then when the Ajax ID equals to our given strings will perform a certain action. So we'll end the case, and then we can write out our two Ajax IDs that we're going to use in this example. The first is going to be get contacts, and the second is going to be save contacts. Now, we can save this, and we can head back. Now, within our attributes of the class, we're going to create two new attributes. The first is going to be MS contact, and for this we'll set the instance level as 0 and the visibility as public, and we'll provide the associated type for this attribute, which is going to be the table name that we created a few moments ago. We'll create one more attribute after saving and activating. This second attribute will be called MT contacts. We'll set the same instance level and visibility as public for this as well. Now, within the type for this attribute, if we click this button, we can define the type within this section here. And we will add some ABAP code here saying the type is going to be a table of, and then we provide the Z eLearn contacts table. We can add one new line here as well to define one more attribute, which is the MS result attribute, and this type will be the Pt.2. We can save, activate that, and now we can see there's our three attributes with the associated types visible and one associated type within the section. Now we can head back to our handle on Ajax method, and we can add the code that we need into each when. So there's two lines here commented saying the input and output, and for the get contacts we expect nothing in the input, and we'll get the empty contacts attribute as the output. And here for the save contacts, we'll have the MS contact as the input and the MS result as the output. And they're both going to call their own individual methods. If we double click the method, we can see that currently it doesn't exist. So in order to make it exist, we'll simply copy the name, head back, and we'll add it as a new method here within the methods of our class. We'll jump back into the handle on Ajax and we'll grab the name of the second method, paste that here as well, and now we can open up and add in the code that we need. So here is the code. We can see that it's just a simple method that will select all from the eLearn contacts into the table MT contacts, and then if there's an error, so if the system response is not equal to 0, it will free up the MT contacts attribute. Here for the save contacts, it's a similar story. We'll free up the MS result attribute. We'll check if the email is present, and if it's not, then we'll return an error saying empty contact. We'll then perform the modification on the table, and then we'll check once again if the response is not equal to 0, we'll return an error, and if it passes all this, we'll return this success message. It's worth noting that the modify statement will either add a new record or update an existing one if one is present.